And let me stream to Facebook. It's going to take a sec. Okay, great. I believe we are streaming live on Facebook, which is a good thing. And I may have to shut that down. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if I start hearing an echo. But anyway, welcome everybody to Lead Like a Goddess. This is 5 pillars of a 6-figure business, and I'm focusing on one pillar each day. So today we are on pillar 4, and today we are moving into a little more advanced territory, and we're talking about leveraging and launching. So the title of this is Leverage and Launch for Maximum Impact. So many of you I know are in the growth stage, and that's what I've been talking about. And that's what the first 3 pillars are basically about. Right now, there are different levels of those pillars, and I've been talking about the mastermind. So the mastermind is generally for entrepreneurs who are established, who have worked with clients, are working with clients, know how to receive money, because that is a big thing when you're in business. Just, the ability to be open to receiving and to being able to ask for the sale. So I do have another program for those of you in the growth stage that I haven't talked about much, and I'm going to talk about that today. And because I know not everybody is a fit for the mastermind. So I just updated the page. I added some savings, and I will share that in a little bit. But first, I want to do a recap. I've got my notes here, so I am kind of prepared. So day 1, pillar 1 is about your irresistible offer, right? So at every level, at every stage in your business, you have to have an offer. A lot of times as coaches, and I never really started out like this because I had an agency, but I was working one-to-one with people. So it was just a little bit different model. But if you're a coach or a healer, you're probably working with your clients with one-off sessions, or maybe a series of sessions, coaching sessions with a specific outcome. So that's considered a one-to-one business model, right? And we see that all across the board. That's great. But at some point, you get maxed out. Like, you can continue to raise your rates and continue to take on fewer one-to-one clients, which a lot of people will do, or you can expand and launch a group program or a course. But I say, when you create a course, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, you first want to run it as a group program, even if you have 4 people. And that's how I got started. So that's pillar 1, your irresistible offer. So you can go back and watch the replay of day 1 if you missed that, but that has a lot of valuable information on how to promote your offer, what goes into the actual marketing of an offer. I don't teach, how to package your offer. I just teach what you need to say about it, what you need to consider about it, right? And get really clear so people will buy it. And then day 2, pillar 2, is alignment. And I talk about aligned marketing and aligned messaging, because your message, you have your offer, but your offer will not sell if it's not really dialed in as far as your messaging goes, because you really do have to communicate the value, why people need to join your program, purchase your offer, invest in themselves through you. And you really need to speak to the person that you want to attract. Alignment really is about your energetic. We're all here to live our purpose. So you're probably aligning with your purpose here, but you still have to align with the client you want to attract. You want your offer to be aligned with what you love to do. There's so many different aspects of alignment, right? And every once in a while, we do fall out of alignment. So we want to be aware of that and then make those shifts that bring us back into alignment. And, I go out of alignment every once in a while. And, I experienced that this year a little bit. And so now I'm making some shifts, reevaluating some things in my business, and just really coming back into alignment with my higher purpose. Because like I say, we're all living our purpose now. This is what we're meant to be doing and where we're meant to be for whatever reason, but we all have a higher purpose. Okay. And then yesterday, day 3, pillar 3 is about growing your audience. So that was called engage, nurture, and grow, because engagement is huge nowadays, right? Everybody says engagement is down, and it makes sense because the market is saturated in every single area. So don't ever think, oh, so many people are doing what I do, or this is really saturated, or how do I stand out above the noise? Well, you just got to stand out about the noise and not worry about anybody else, right? So comparison energy is the worst energy you can really get into. So you just want to continue to do your thing, put your content out to the platforms that are aligned with you, and then just trust that your right fit clients are going to find you, right? So let me just share my my offer. And like I said, I've been talking about the mastermind, and today I'm going to share my screen. Let me see. Let me make sure I have it up. Okay, just give me a sec. I put the link in the chat. Okay. Where are you? All right, let me just get that screen again. I'm going to close out of this, try it again. All right. Okay, so you should be able to see this. This is Create and Thrive Academy. So this is my leveraged offer for those of you who are in the growth stage. And a lot of times clients will come into the academy and then they will move up to the mastermind when they're ready. But what I do, and Christina is a member of the academy right now. So Create and Thrive Academy is a 12-month program for those of you in the growth, entrepreneurs who are mostly in the growth stage. I mean, I have some members in the inner circle that are, beyond 6 figures, but they don't want to be, they're not really a fit for the mastermind. They're doing other things, but they love my community. So they're there. So it starts with the Goddess White Inner Circle, which is a live component. Now we're talking leverage here, right? So this is a 12-month program, and it's not really outcome based. So your offer is going to be outcome based. The inner circle really is a sacred space where entrepreneurs come together. It's very goddessy. I talk a lot about mindset. I do trainings every other week. But there's no real one set outcome. The mastermind is, yes, you're going to create a 6-figure business. The academy is, we're going to get you ready to create your six-figure business, right? This is just the lower end stage, the first stage, a more beginner stage, I would say. So it starts with the Goddess White Inner Circle. And that, like I said, that's my live group component. We meet for 90 minutes, the first and third Tuesday. And what I've done today is I decided to make this offer today, and it's regularly $19.97, and that's for 12 months. But when you join today, or by, I think, April 3rd, by Monday, because we meet on Tuesday, so I want you to join by then, it's $14.44. So you save $553, I believe, and there's a payment plan of $144 a month. This is not a membership. So a membership is another example of a leveraged offer. And and a lot of people, if you're in the beginning stages of business, you might be thinking of starting a membership. A membership is great, but there's always that possibility that your members are going to drop out. So if you're going to consider starting a membership, I would suggest that you first have a pretty big community that you can sell that membership to, and then start with some kind of founding members pricing. But with a membership, you have to continue every month to add content and to offer something new. There are a lot of memberships where there's no live component. So what sets me apart from a membership is we're live. Like, live is added value. Anytime you can get live support, whether it's group like this, because this is a very small, intimate group, or one-to-one, which I do give a little bit of one-to-one here, and there's a possibility of adding on, but that's where the real value lies, because that's where you get customized support, because I open up the lines for hot seats, everybody gets a share, and we, talk about whatever the members need to talk about. So that's the live component. Now, I started out with just the Goddess White Inner Circle. This is the precursor to my mastermind. I launched it at $4.97 on Black Friday. And who joined? My clients joined, right? So I was able to fill it with that one launch. My goal was 10. I think I got 9. And 8 of those were current clients. And it was $4.97, and they locked in that founding members pricing. Since then, last year, I turned the Goddess White Inner Circle into Create and Thrive Academy, because guess what? Because of COVID, I started to create courses. And my academy includes all these courses. Create and launch your six-figure signature system, which is about creating your irresistible offer and then repurposing it into multiple streams of income. It's really a full A to Z type course. And then the second course is design and deliver your pilot program and turn it into a digital product. So this was probably my most successful, because this was a pretty successful launch. I did a beta, and I think I had 14 people, which isn't huge, but I have a small community, so it was okay. And now this sells for $9.97. So after everybody finished Create and Launch, some of them had a signature system. What do you do once you have your program? You've got to get out there and sell it, right? And fill it. So that's what design and deliver your pilot program and turn it into a digital product is about. It's about getting paid to create. That's how I do everything. I decide I'm going to launch a program. I map out the content, but I don't create anything until I sell it. So Design and Deliver shows you how to fill your beta course, because anytime you're starting out, and I'm going to talk about this when we get to launching, but it's a little bit different to fill it. I mean, you really do have to do one-to-one outreach. Now, if you already have a community and they've worked with you, then it's okay to do a launch. You're probably going to be pretty successful. So I launched this. I think most of the people from Create and Launch came into this, but I did get a couple of new clients. I wanted 8 people and I got 8 people at the last minute. 2 of them came at the last minute. They were new. And anyway, but they had great results because this was actually about the mindset and about the outreach to get people to pay you. So that's the second course, and that's valued at $297. And then the List Builders Freedom Funnel Flow, which is about what I talked about yesterday, growing your list. It starts with creating a lead magnet, covers the tech, opt-in pages, conversion, all those things that you need to grow your list. And I just changed the price on this yesterday. So if you wanted to purchase this separately, you could go and purchase it for $497. But it's really such a no-brainer to just join the Academy and get everything for $14.44 for the year. And why? Because you get the live support. I still have to add this, but you do get the Sizzle System of Personal Branding. This is my course on branding from the inside out. Other things, a 6-figure launch in a weekend planner. I use this to plan my launches. Monetize Your Brilliance assessment. This is what I created when I was doing my purpose work, and I still use it as a freebie occasionally, but most of my people now know what their purpose is. But this is a 20-minute training and a workbook to help you really get clear on what your purpose is. Okay, all my courses have a course book and an action guide. And the way to design courses is and if you join here or join any of my courses, you'll see my structure. But again, you should deliver live at first, but when you're delivering it, you can create your course as you deliver it. That's what the second course is about, right? You can use slides, you can show up live, but then you always want to have some homework. You want to keep your homework very, very simple. So while all my courses have a course book with all the content in written form, it's not a transcript. It's kind of, they work hand in hand, but they're pretty similar. But I also have action guides, and those action guides have 2 or 3 activities for each module or each lesson that will help you to get the outcome. In pillar 1, irresistible offer, I talked about when you get to the how am I going to get this result? You need to figure out the features of your courses and all your programs, all your offers. And a course book is something that I include as a feature to all of my courses. And then you also get a digital version of my book, Girlfriend, We Need to Talk About Your Brand. It is being sold now on Amazon for $30. And if you buy it from me, it's $47. Because why is it so high when you can go and buy a book for $3.99, right? It's because it's a workbook, and it does take you from point 0 to point 100 as far as your brand goes. It's a workbook. It covers everything. And then what else? Yeah, so then you also get a one-to-one call with me. I call this an intuitive reading. It pretty much is an intuitive reading. So I brought the price down today, so you save $500. That should be $553. But anyway, I put the thing in the chat, and if you click on, I don't know if this is going to work, but if you click on one of these buttons, it will take you to a page, and you'll see it doesn't have everything mapped out here, what you get, but I don't know why I didn't do it here, but you'll see, I call it Freedom Savings, $14.44. And then if you click this, you'll see that you just pay $144 a month. So anyway, that's that. If you're interested in what I'm talking about this week, and really getting clear on your first 3 pillars. And then, of course, we've got the mastermind. So on with the training. Okay, so all right, got some notes. So let's talk about leverage. Again, I mentioned it a little bit. I used my academy as an example of how you can leverage your work a lot worth. And that's really what it is. You're leveraging your worth. My story is that I never believed in coaching. And then I had a creative services agency, made 6 figures my first year, went through the recession, did not make 6 figures, but I still did well. And then when the recession ended, people started hiring me again. I mean, they started really coming out of the woodwork, and I found myself with, 14 new projects to work on in 1 month. And I was getting burned out, tired. I had to hire outside help, which, I did have an assistant, but I really noticed that I had hit a financial glass ceiling and I had to do something. So one day I wasn't feeling well. I decided to take the day off and go crash an E-Women network meeting. And I saw this person speak about leveraging your worth. And she said I could make money with what I know, not with just what I do, because I was doing a lot of, graphic design and photography and writing and all those kinds of things. And I mean, she was talking to me. And she said that most solopreneurs like myself cap out in the mid 60s range. And that's about where I was, because remember, we were in a recession and I was just building that back. Now I made much more when I had those 14 clients, right? But anyway, that really resonated with me. So I plopped down $997 right then and there to work with her. And the rest is history. I ended up going to her live event where I paid $18,500 to be in her small group mastermind. And what did I do from there? That's how I learned how to create a signature talk. That's how I created my signature system. I launched my group program. I mean, it was just so well worth it. I would not be here today had I not made that investment in myself. So, I know that there's a lot of free stuff out there now. This is a free training, but I just can't stress enough that if you really want to be successful in your business, you've got to hire a mentor. You've got to invest in yourself. So Create and Thrive Academy is a great place to start because you will get a lot of support in those live trainings, and you also get my courses. And you don't have to start out with, an $18,000 investment, which by today's standards is pretty low. So anyway, that's how I ended up leveraging my work. So it took me about a year. Well, first of all, she was all about self-worth. Now, when you work with a coach, you're going to get that mindset support, right? So in that, I hired her at first in June. In that 6 months that I hired her, I had increased my income 15% over the previous year because I really stood in my worth. I raised my rates and I just valued myself more. That's what it means to leverage your worth, right? You're serving more people at once. You're moving from a one-to-one business model to serve groups, whether that's in workshops or whatever form that you take. Mostly it's a group program if you're a coach. So that's how it happened to me. And then, so it took me about a year, and in March 2014, in January 2014, I had created my program, the Sizzle System, because I was working on something else. But then when I realized, hey, personal branding is what I've been doing all along. I have a master's degree in public relations. I created a program around personal branding. And it was based on my knowledge and experience. Like I said yesterday or the day before, everything you need is inside of you already, right? You've just got to tap into it. So that was already inside of me. I mean, I had it, had it heads over heels with, of other branding experts who were just creating a program. I actually had the background, the experience, the education, everything. So it just made sense. So I launched that, and the rest is history. I fell out of alignment with that program and then rebranded to Align, Believe, Create and the Goddess Way. And that's going to happen too. But that's how it happened for me. And it was a different world back then in 2014. Things are different now, but most of you will start one-to-one, and then at some point you'll see the need to launch a group program or create some kind of workshop or way to deliver your healing, your teaching, whatever, to groups of people rather than just one-to-one. And then when you get those groups of people, it's usually a lower price. Then that's where you make the offer to work with you one-to-one, because not everybody's going to do that. Or you leverage with a mastermind like I've done, right? So my mastermind is still very, very affordable. It's reasonable, but it is my higher level program. Beyond that, I have a mentorship and my book writing program, which is considered my premier program, but I consider my mastermind my kind of mid-range leverage program. And the courses that I showed you, you can go and buy those courses, but I launched those courses as group programs. And even when you join the academy, I am going to be launching Create and Launch Your Six-Figure Signature System live again this year. You'll get that. You'll get an invitation to that for free, right? And that's going to be $9.97. So when you pay $14.44, you really are getting a lot of value. So that's how you leverage. That's what leverage means, to serve a lot of people instead of just one-to-one. That's where you make the big bucks. You hear all the time people having, $10,000 launches, six-figure launches. Well, that takes a while to get there, but you have to start somewhere. So that's how you leverage your business. It's a business model. So let's talk about launching. So you might not know this. I don't talk about it a lot, but I am a certified launch coach. And launching has changed tremendously. So what does it mean to launch? Well, launching is a conversion event. Conversion means that you get people to do what you ask them to do, right? So in the case of a launch, you're selling a program. You're launching a program. And you need some kind of event to have people enroll in that program. So right now I'm doing a free training and I'm launching my mastermind. I just told you about my academy, which is kind of the downsell of the mastermind, but it's for those of you in the growth stage. So this is a launch, but I'm keeping it pretty simple. I'm about simplicity and alignment. Remember, I didn't have a lot of time to plan this out or promote it, but I've been doing this so long that I can pretty much just show up and know exactly what to do. When I was launching in the beginning, I hired a company and it was thousands of dollars, but I always made that money back. But I also had an email list that I had already started. I had people who said they would mail for me. And I had been in the business community in my area for 6 years. So some of my clients I knew, and that's what's going to happen with you. When you launch your first program, you're going to draw your clients from your warm audience. So a lot of people are making promises that, you can just launch your program, fill it, and blah, 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 blah. Well, unless you're really nurturing people, like I talked about yesterday, people aren't going to buy from you because you still have to build the know, like, and trust factor. Now, they don't really need to know you. They don't really even need to like you, but people who buy from you need to trust that you're capable of getting the result that they are looking for. I talk about that in training 1. So how do you launch, right? What type of launch is right for you? You've all seen the, 3, 4-part video launches, the Jeff Walker style launches. I do not do that. You've got to be at a certain level, a certain energy to do that. My way is the goddess way. So you can launch via a webinar, a 5-day challenge. Those are kind of the starter ways to launch, to launch in a leveraged way. Like I said earlier, when you first launch a course or a program and you don't have a big community, you're going to be doing one-to-one outreach. Doesn't mean you can't, post on Facebook or do some Facebook ads if those work for you. They don't work for me, so I don't recommend them to my clients, but everybody's different. But bottom line is, when you get to a certain level, like I would say, do your beta launch with a few people and then consider a leverage launch. A leverage launch is a webinar or a challenge. If you're just starting out, you probably want to start with a webinar, or you could do a 5-day challenge, but a 5-day challenge is a lot of work. I did 3 challenges and they were great. They were so much fun, but I already had an audience. I built my list. I built my audience because I got about 200 or so new people to come in, but that was in a different time. That's when you could run Facebook ads and get results, right? So I would start there. Then once you get to the expert level, where you've done a webinar, you've proven your program, because you've got to prove that your program gets results for people and that people want it. So once you do a webinar a couple times, or maybe you want to move into a challenge, if that's your energetic, everybody's different. I mean, whatever's aligning for you. Then there's what's working now is the 3-day launch or even the 1-day launch. But a 1-day launch is really a higher level launch event. And that's because, you're on for 1 day. You generally have people mail for you. So you've got to develop those relationships. People are not going to mail for you unless you have a proven concept. When I say mail for you, I'm talking about JV partnerships, joint venture partnerships, affiliates. I mean, if you have a list, you could be an affiliate for me if we were a good fit, and you would get a percentage of every sale that came from your list. But it's also a way to build my list. So you would be sending me people, and if any of those people bought, I would give you, say, $400 of a $997 program. That's a way to build your list, and that's a way to partner with people, but you've got to get to a certain point before people are even going to want to partner with you. And I say this because I've had at least 2 people reach out and ask to partner with me, and they don't even have a business. So somebody's telling them to, I know somebody's out there telling people to, get joint ventures when they're not understanding that you've got to have something to offer. All right. So really work with a coach, do what you need to do, and then grow from there. It doesn't work where you just reach out to people and say, hey, will you promote my program? Why? We're all busy. We're all promoting our own programs. Why would I want to promote your program if you don't even know if it's going to sell, right? So you've got to have a proven concept. So This is what people aren't saying, right? Anyway, so a live launch is a 1-day launch is where you just promote your program. I just took a workshop with somebody and he said that you basically deliver your masterclass over the course of 4 hours. You break it up, you have guests, but again, you're not going to get guests show up unless you have a proven concept and unless you have an audience. My audience is small, so I don't bring in a lot of guests. I just really do everything myself, and that's why. But it's okay. I mean, I am where I am. I like it this way. Everybody has a different business model, so don't feel that you have to compete with anybody. So that's the 1-day launch. The 3-day launch is a little bit different, and that is you show up and I know you see this, I know you see other people doing it, but you show up for 3 days, you do a training for about an hour. And again, this is expert status. Like you've got to be an expert to make this work. And then maybe 2 days later, you might do a master class, but you're always enrolling people into your program. So when you're starting out, once again, you've got to start somewhere. I started with a teleseminar, which was the precursor to webinars, and then I went to webinars. Now I do master classes. Now I do free trainings. I've done challenges. I probably will do a 1-day launch or maybe a 3-day launch. Or maybe I'll just continue to do master classes because I have several master classes created and I'm always making an offer. Just like I made the offer for Create and Thrive Academy, where I showed you the business page, the sales page, right? Same thing. When you do a webinar, masterclass, challenge, whatever, the whole intent of that is to make sales to a lot of people. That's considered a leveraged launch. Now, there's also another style of launch that I don't know how well it's working right now, but that is a strategy session launch. And with that, and you don't have to have a huge email list for that, but that's usually for a one-to-one program. Or if you're, if you don't, like I said, if you don't have a big audience, if you might be starting a small group program or a higher end program, it would have to be high end. High end is considered over $2,000. Anything under $2,000, you would just send people to a sales page like I did with Create and Thrive Academy. I did that to illustrate how it's done. Just send people and they can go sign up. With my mastermind, if you see my emails, I'm saying hit reply, and because I need to know if you're a fit. That's why I'm doing it that way. I'm not just putting the link out there. I mean, the price is only $5,500, which to me is a no-brainer for a mastermind, but you still have to resonate with me and you still have to want to be in a mastermind. But anyway, so getting back to the strategy session launch, this is generally for VIP days or one-to-one coaching. But what you do is you send an email to your list, a very, very specifically worded email inviting them to a strategy call. You have to give the strategy session a name. You're going to do a little bit of coaching. So it's not just a discovery call. You're going to name it. You're going to give, like, you'll come away with this from this call with this, this, and this, at least 3 bullet points. And then you have people fill out an application. If you don't feel comfortable with the application process, you can just have them sign up or schedule. So you're going to give a link to your calendar, your scheduler, and then you're going to get them on the call. I heavily suggest that you do ask them some sort of questions, though, because here's what's happening in the industry today. For every 3 people who sign up for a discovery call, strategy call, you can expect one of those people to actually show up. There's a lot of freebie seekers out there now. And I mean, I love giving away my stuff for free, like this free training, but I have to make an offer because I'm in business. And like I said to you, always have a call to action. Always let your people know how they can work with you. It doesn't mean they're going to, but they still have to know, because or else what is the purpose of even showing up, right? So anyway, strategy session call, you would either have them fill an application or just send them a couple of questions in an email just to know that they're really committed. And then you get on the call with them, you find out what do they want. It's always about what they want. And then you do a little bit of coaching about what you promise the outcome will be, and then you make your offer if they're a fit. So remember, a strategy call is always first and foremost to find out if that person is a fit to work with you. And if so, you make the offer of whatever you're launching. Now, when you do a strategy session launch like this, you do have a specific offer. So I've done them for VIP days. I've done them for my branding packages. I've done them for different reasons. And oftentimes, though, your person, the person you're talking to, doesn't know exactly what your offer is, right? So you have to tell them about it. So say I do a strategy session for launching VIP days, but nobody wants VIP days. Well, I have to have another offer to make, right? So you generally have a high-end offer, and then you might have a lower-end offer, or you just might have a totally different offer. I remember doing a strategy session launch for VIP days, and instead of a VIP day, I sold a $7,000 branding package. So you've got to be flexible when that happens, but it's okay because, it's not something that you're announcing to the masses. It's between you and the person on the other end of the phone or, the Zoom screen that makes the agreement on how you're going to work together. Okay, so that is what you need to know about leveraging and launching out. One more thing, I do want to talk about how to make your launch successful. And that is, it's called the launch runway. And that is the buildup before the launch. So for example, if you know you're going to launch a program in 60 days, because you should map out your launches. I'm not so good at that, honestly, but you should map out your launches. And then once you set your date and you know you're going to be doing that, then all the content that you put out is going to relate to whatever you're launching. So for example, I'm launching my mastermind. My content right now is all about my 5 pillars. Right? So I didn't have such a great launch runway, although I'm always, always, always talking about the Goddess Way, always talking about my mastermind, the 5 pillars. But say, for example, next month, I'm going to be offering a workshop for $197, and it's going to be on stories that sell. And there's a whole different way of doing stories right now. I just froze up, so I'm going to keep talking. And so you will probably see me start to talk more about stories. Now, stories are more in alignment with pillar 2, right? It's about your marketing. And when I talked about content yesterday, right? Your content is a lot about stories, especially the identity content, the connection content that should be 50% of what you put out there. But you notice I always use stories to illustrate a point. It's an art and a science. So that's what my workshop's going to be about. You'll see me talking more about stories because I'm on the launch runway for my workshop. So that's simply what that means, is whatever you have coming up, you're going to start talking about that a little bit more. It doesn't mean you're going to have calls to action, 60 days out. But when you get closer to it, people are already paying attention to, yeah, you're talking about stories. I want to hear this. And then when you offer, say, a workshop where you're actually going to come and write your story, write your case studies, testimonials, that sort of thing, then you have people warmed up already. So that's the way to ensure that your launch is more successful. You've got to think ahead. You've got to plan ahead. I'm not the best at all that, but I have been doing this for a long time. So I know that I can show up and deliver. So, and so can you, right? You can too. But if you want to get results, if you want to enroll clients, then I would say, really, really warm them up with your content. And so they're ready to buy from you when you make that offer. Okay, so I hope this helped. I'm going to be back tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to talk about scaling and simplifying. It's called Scale and Simplify, and that is pillar 5. So you've got to have all these things in place to get to the scale level, and that is the number one question I get from people coming into my Facebook group, because I have a questionnaire and they want to know how to scale their business. So I just want to let you know, scale and grow are 2 different stages. You've got to go through the growth stage. I showed you that in Create and Thrive Academy. So click the link if you're interested. I'll send it in an email as well. Then move into the mastermind and really, create your structure for your 6-figure business. Once you get those things in place, then you hand it off, right? And automate. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But that's where the real magic happens. Okay. So once again, thanks for everybody who's watching. Post your takeaways in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, give me a like on Facebook, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to open up the line for questions now, though. So anybody who's here, I'm going to stop the recording.